Republican senators put a provision in the leg branch appropriations bill to let themselves sue for millions in taxpayer money over January 6 wiretaps. The provision is retroactive to 2022, making eligible the 8 lawmakers whose phone records were subpoenaed by investigators. Every violation would be worth at least $500,000 in any legal claim, according to the bill language. Phenomenal. Democrats voted for this. I know it won't happen, but is it not possible to just vote out Schumer? Yeah, but they won't, because enough Democratic senators like him that they'll keep him. Why would they do that? They're all aware. It's not just Schumer, man. This is what we're saying. You need a transformational project. Schumer's just the head fall guy, you know? If Schumer was removed, the next person to take over after him, how do you think he's been in this position for so long, you know? He's been politically active for decades. It wasn't exactly a surprise who he was when he was elected head of Senate Democrats.
It's all in the hands of the House now. The Senate has passed a bill to end the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. The House is expected to vote on it as soon as tomorrow, but the deal is deepening the divide among Democrats after 8 of their members broke ranks to pass the bill with Senate Republicans. Democrats didn't get the main thing that they've been holding out for, an extension of Obamacare credits that would keep health insurance costs from soaring. What they did get was a promise from Senate Republicans to hold a vote on it after the shutdown deal passed late last night. Some Democrats did not hide their frustration.
Look, what just happened in the Senate chamber was an absolute disgrace. I can't stress it enough. I'm just so pissed off at just what's going to happen to so many people. So we'll get to the political ramifications and whatnot. But right now, just coming out from this vote, you know, I'm sad for so many that we weren't able to help.
Much of the fury among Democrats is being directed at their Senate leader, Chuck Schumer. He didn't.
But again, how sincere are these criticisms when they're not being offered in conjunction with a demand that Schumer resign? The idea, like demanding Schumer resign, would not be politically damaging at all. He's extremely unpopular. But if you're not calling for his resignation, and how many Democratic senators, by the way, are calling for Schumer's resignation?
Vote for the deal, but some say he didn't hold the line either, and it's time for him to go.
He's the leader of the Senate. This deal would never have happened if he had not blessed it. It's time for him to be replaced. He is not meeting the moment. He's out of touch with where the party's base is.
Meantime, as the shutdown drags on, it's still causing...
Yeah, not even Bernie's calling for Schumer's resignation. Ro Khanna's the only one I've seen. Ro Khanna is a representative.
Travel chaos for millions of Americans. More than 1,000 flights already canceled today, with the FAA set...
Close enough. No, those are two very different institutions. Literally only one. Who's the one senator?
To ramp up cuts to air traffic from 4% to 6% today at 40 major airports. Kate?
Let's talk about the state of things and where this is headed on Capitol Hill. Joining us right now is Democratic Congressman Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts. Congressman, thanks for being here. You have said that you are a no on this deal. Why is it not enough? Why is this not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good then?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. It's not even good. I mean, there's no perfect and good here. It's caving. And not a single win was delivered for the middle class. The middle class was very clear in 2024 when Donald Trump won his election, and very clear again this week in the New Jersey and Virginia and Georgia and New York elections, that affordability is the mandate. If you are a politician, you either lower prices or you perish. And so before this shutdown happened, along with other members of the House, I laid out a series of ways.
Here's the current list, but no senators or AOC or Bernie. 10 congressional Democrats, 5 Democratic-aligned organization, and 6 Democratic Senate candidates calling for Chuck Schumer to resign as leader. Oh, there's Rashida Tlaib. That's quite nice. Where's AOC?
Ways that we might lower prices for the middle class. It was reversing the worst of the Medicaid cuts. It was a vote on the tariffs to rescind some of these inflationary measures. And none of it got done. And as Democrats look forward to January, when we're going to be doing this whole rodeo all over again, we had better have a strategy that we can deliver on for the middle class, because voters want to see politicians get stuff done to lower prices.
Right.
Agreement.
No.
I hear Senator Shaheen's point that Republicans have had 15 years to propose another way to expand health care coverage and
if they didn't think they could pass it. On the other hand, the Democrats are going to be unified accordingly and appropriately against the legislation because of health care. And so I think that's how it will happen. But I think there's a bigger issue here that comes out of this, Wolf, and the simple point is, while a lot of people are thinking about who's up, who's down, the Republicans showed their true colors here. They're willing to go to the Supreme Court to deny kids food while they're...
Yeah, man, the colors definitely weren't shown when they were shutting the government down for the longest period in history exclusively to not re-up those tax credits for ACA premiums. Jesus Christ.
They're also willing to cut and deny their parents health care. And that issue...
Isn't this the dude that basically fucked over Americans after 2008? Again, it's a big club and you're not in it. It's not just Schumer. If Schumer was voted out, they would just vote in another Schumer. It's the revolving door villain theory. The ultimate agenda of the Democratic Party at like a top level is to keep the country more or less stable so capital owners can continue to rape you and your dog to death. The Republicans are just less competent and louder about it. So Schumer's currently the fall guy. Maybe he gets voted out, whatever. Sure, they'll just get another guy in. Give him, no, just don't worry. It'll take another 2 decades for people to get sick of his shtick for long enough that he gets voted out, you know?
Doesn't disappear. And in fact, the president's own pollster said the health care issue is going to be dangerous for the House Republicans. So I think actually, while there's the issue of ACA
you just
and the
made
vote
10 million
and
Chuck Schumers.
Opening up the government, when it's all said and done, the Republicans actually took a lot of bruises here that are going to continue to play through the election.
Who's even behind Schumer? Capital interests, Israel.
I'm joined now by New York Democratic Congressman Richie Torres. Let me just pick up, if I can, Congressman, where she left off and get your sense of it. Do you think that the shutdown is about to end?
The shutdown will end, but the deal that was negotiated is a raw deal for working families. If I could vote against it twice, I would. A deal that requires Republicans to concede nothing and Democrats to concede everything is not actually a deal. It's an unconditional surrender. It's not actually a negotiation. It's a complete capitulation to Donald Trump. So as far as I'm concerned, the agreement is a failure because it fails to prevent 24 million Americans from seeing their premiums more than double. It fails to prevent 4 million Americans from losing their health care altogether. It fails to prevent hospitals everywhere in America from losing $30 billion in...
How's Torres correct on this? He's been shifting left for a little while. Probably he's read the writing on the wall, I suppose. He's noticed it, and is interested in keeping his job for longer than a couple years, you know?
Funding and over 300,000 jobs. It fails to lower the cost of healthcare for the American people fighting. But the fact that a few Democratic defectors would surrender to Donald Trump after the resounding rejection of Donald Trump in the 2025 election is utterly baffling. Like, that is not a show of strength, it's a show of weakness. And weakness will only embolden Donald Trump.
It's so frustrating seeing, like, across the media landscape, so many people reacting to this, and it is forbidden for anyone to propose, what if Schumer and the Senate Dems are just puppets of capital and they were interchangeable? They were selected, essentially, to be the fall guys for allowing the government to reopen because the government not being reopened was disruptive to too many wealthy and powerful people. And that way they get to do it without Trump capitulating, which he was never going to do. No one gets to, I mean, I know it's like, oh, lefty slop, lefty slop, lefty slop. Oh, how do you say that, you know, you really believe that? I do believe that. Well, I not only do I believe that, I think it's also the most logical explanation. It's by far the easiest. I keep saying Occam's razor, but I feel like sometimes people just march uphill with this, you know? No. All these people keep doing bizarrely contradictory, unwise, irrational things, and then their explanations for them make no sense. And if you assume they're just operating as, shiftless agents of capital, then it all makes sense. But it can't be that. So we have to invent these ridiculous theories that, you know, people who have been in government for decades and decades genuinely think Republicans are going to vote yes on an ACA tax credit extension in 1 month. Like, even though they've said explicitly that they won't. That makes more sense. Them not talking about it is a pretty dead giveaway that it's on the money. Yeah, that is true. You'd think otherwise they would like incredulously suggest it a little bit, but the fact that it's too on the money, so it's like, well, no, we can't even posit it, because if we did, it would make way too much sense to people, you know? If we actually like follow that line of reasoning, we would convince people into it. Jeffries and Schumer should be booed out of every public space. Yeah, just keep in mind that if they were, they would be replaced by the same guy right after. Do I want to talk about the Ghislaine Maxwell thing right now? Nah, I kind of don't. I'm kind of pissed about all this, man. What do you think about this? Apparently, Mamdani disapproves of Ossa primarying Jeffries. Oh, yeah, I saw this. I want more info on this. The New York Times is an evil organization run by evil people, largely Zionists, deeply evil. And they've been antagonistic towards Mamdani's campaign for months and months now. So their framing of the issue is that, well, here. Against Mamdani's wishes, Gen Z councilman plans to challenge Jeffries. Chi Ossa, a New York City councilman, has told allies he's preparing to challenge Rep. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader of the House. And allegedly, Mamdani has said that he doesn't want that because he doesn't want an overly aggressive wave of antagonism from New York to come across as like a challenge to the Democrats in a way that would threaten his ability to govern as mayor. Like, the alleged reason is that Mamdani's worried that too much aggression from his camp would make it impossible for mainstream Democrats to work with him when he's going to need that cooperation from Albany. That being said, this is a take from the New York Times, and I don't trust them at all. I want to see how it plays out. There are like charitable versions of these arguments from Mamdani and from Ossa that I think I could agree with. At the very best, maybe it could be a situation where both people are in the right in their own ways. Reasonable arguments, then things could play towards either direction depending on who you believe is more competent or who has the better mandate or who has more ability. But I don't want to get that information from here. Does that make sense? Like I would like to know, I guess, more about it than I'm going to get from like, yeah, Corpo Slop News. Mamdani has privately tried to discourage his ideological ally from running. The mayor-elect and his team fear another high-profile challenge from the left might compromise his own bid to push the Democratic establishment to support his affordability agenda. Mamdani also may want to avoid the optics of having Mr. Ossa challenge the House Democratic leader, who endorsed Mr. Mamdani in October after months of negotiation. This is speculation. The disagreement caused Mr. Ossa to be disinvited from Mamdani's election party, according to two people familiar with the matter, even though he has been a frequent presence at Mamdani's campaign events. Instead, Mr. Ossa said he spent the night, quote, with my constituents at DSA events celebrating Zoran's incredible win. Mamdani on Monday sidestepped questions about Mr. Ossa, saying he was solely focused on preparing for his inauguration and would keep his, quote, opinions just to the work of the transition. Mr. Ossa's plans to challenge Jeffries were first reported by the New York Post. Okay. Yeah, again, I would like more information from both parties. If there is beef between them, but Ossa still is, quote, celebrating Zoran's incredible win, that tells me that whatever disagreements there might be between them, it's possible they've resolved them or might resolve them amicably. Again, it is possible for them to have different priorities and it's still resolved to sort of make it both work. We'll find out more in the future, I imagine.